Hello everyone, it's Shane Kanto, your Wasteland reviewer, and I'm here to review the second season of Pose. And I just finished watching the second season of Ryan Murphy's show, centering upon a group of people who represent different aspects of the LGBTQ plus community, and it takes place in the late 80s into the early 90s over the first two seasons. And Ryan Murphy is a creative force behind a lot of television, and there's a lot of style that goes into his shows, his creations, but I feel like barely any other of his shows hits quite the poignant and emotional nature that Pose does. And to be perfectly honest, I think Pose is my favorite show of his. And just the community that's represented in the show, and the second season digs even deeper and really captures the spirit of this community, the ballroom, the dancing, the contests for those trophies, and just the sense of community of mothers bringing in young people who of their backgrounds who are struggling and giving them a place, and just this whole entire community and how Pose really puts a spotlight onto that loving, just nurturing kind of community, supportive community, is awesome. And I feel like the show, especially in the second season, really pushes it into activism, and you see activism, you see the retaliation of it, you see Blanca making her own little business and dealing with a lot of the backlash of who she is and what people think of her. And is that Patty Lupon plays this woman who's renting out this space, and there's those confrontations of how Blanca doesn't represent the kind of person she wants to be renting her space. And you have Angel getting into modeling and the sexual harassment that goes on and the prejudice that goes on to women who weren't born as a woman, and all the different aspects. And it really captures the spirit of Vogue happening with Madonna, and how that really digs through the different aspects of this season. One of the biggest things that I love about the second season is Billy Poulter's Pray Tell really gets to flourish in this season and become a fully fledged character a lot more than in the first season, and you get to see layers, his trauma, and he's such an interesting character, and Billy Porter gives an amazing performance. The whole cast is absolutely amazing, from MJ Rodriguez, Dominique Jackson as Electra, who's one of the more complex characters in this show because she floats between being an antagonist and a growing connection to the rest of the characters and community in the show. And one thing that's interesting in hindsight is you spend a decent amount of time with Evan Peters' character in the first season and his background, his family. Honestly, the lack of that in this season was actually a positive, because I felt like in hindsight his story kind of takes away from the real stories that are trying to be told in this season and in the show in general. And I feel like digging deeper into the characters, that this is the community that the show's trying to put a spotlight on, was more beneficial. And obviously this season really focuses on AIDS and the spread of AIDS and what it can do to different people. And there's loss and there's tragedy in this season, and there's hard, powerful, poignant, emotional moments. And throughout this season, I never felt bored. Each episode packed a great story into it, and just the connections between the characters and the arcs that each of them go on and growing, and the kids becoming adults and finding their own way, and the challenges that brings upon Blanca because she no longer has children, is she still a mother, and finding her new place. And really the relationship between her and Pray Tell is so special. MJ Rodriguez and Billy Poulter are definitely the big highlights of this show. I loved season 2. I can't wait for season 3. FX is great. they put out some really great content. You can watch this right now on Netflix. But those are my thoughts on Pose Season 2. Pose is 100% recommend check out this show. I think it's important in what it covers, but also it's a great show. And really grow with the characters and make those connections. But let me know what you think, and let's talk some TV. But thank you as always for tuning in and supporting your Wasteland reviewer.